Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews tonight. Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode number 9. We're on Episode number 9 already of Married at First Sight. And tonight, what some fireworks. Everybody had a problem. It ended well for some couples. It didn't end so well for others. But let's get started. Where do you want to get to?
Noy and Steve.
Let's go with Noy and Steve.
Pretty much uneventful.
No, it was eventful. Not
mean,
blow up eventful,
yeah,
but some big things came out of it, though.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Compared to the other couples, they were uneventful. It was something significant, but it wasn't.
Got you.
All right. So the one thing, they tried to set us up.
Yeah.
Steve said he woke up to an empty apartment. We was like, oh, shoot. Noy done left again. Left him there with sushi. But alas, it was not a problem. No. He left her. She left him a note, said, meet me at the park. And so he goes to the park and basically has a scavenger hunt.
Yes.
She's left him boxes and clues here and there throughout the park. It was really cute. And he was like, you know, I like it. All the clues was like kind of related to memories that they've made thus far on the honeymoon or whatever else. And so he has to go through the park and find the clues. Y'all know what a scavenger hunt is. So in the end, his last one is her. And she's on the swing set. The one thing I'm going to add from after party is she started early. She said she started early that morning. And she said, I figured it would take him, about 30 minutes. Yeah. She said it took him 2 hours. He was moving kind of slow, finding the clues. He had a little bit of difficulty, but he found her. Right. She said, I was waiting for a long time. But he really liked it. She said, you know, she saw where she could make improvements. And she wanted this to like be an introduction for them, a reintroduction. And to give him something that he likes. He likes adventurous stuff. Yeah. He liked it. You know, I like having to go around and finding stuff. He really liked it. So it worked for them.
What I thought was cool was that, you know, they recovered well from the Noodlegate, as we want to call it, right? They recovered well from Noodlegate, and they have really been putting things in perspective. And she even said it. I'm trying more. I see where I made my mistakes. I understand I have some issues and problems. And he's being patient with me, and I really, really like him.
So later we see all the couples get some topics that they need to discuss. Yeah. And they pretty much all have the same questions. The same questions. So I'd rather just give it now, and you know this spot. But I'll kind of mention it with the other couples. But the first question is, have you been in love before? And Noy says yes, she's been in love before once. Steve said he's been in love several times. He's had 5 serious relationships. So he would say all of them, you know, he was in love. And she said it was interesting that he would say that, considering that what she shared on the honeymoon and she didn't get it back. No, he's not going to give that to you that early.
In 3 days.
And he ain't going to fall that early.
You're not falling in love with you in 3 days. Now, understand that some people are quicker lovers than others. Fall in love quicker than others.
I think, no, I don't know. I don't think you can fall in love in 3 days. Fall in love?
Is infatuation?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's crushing real hard, infatuation, or you develop a love for that person, a care or concern.
Right. Well, I was crushing hard the first day I saw you. So.
And so the next question they had.
Don't do that.
The next question they had.
Don't you do that.
Why you listen? This is not that kind of video. So let's go next. What does it take for you to? He always be trying to turn it into something else. That's not what this is. What does it take to fall in love? Noy says, you know, it takes somebody showing up for her, being there for her in times, you know, when she's having a hard time. Steve pretty much said the same thing, feeling comfortable, trusting the person. And he said, I'm getting close enough to the point where I feel comfortable enough to say I love you. So basically he was saying, when I'm at the point where I feel like these things are in place, that's when I'll say it.
Yeah, it's just like things have to line up. He's feeling comfortable, things are lining up. He's adjusting to her, she's adjusting to him, and he's feeling the love coming from Noi and she's appreciation. I think what really helped him out was after Noodlegate, she kind of responded to what he had said. You know, they might have had a different. She hasn't left again, and they've been communicating much better. And I think she says that on After Party as well. They've been communicating when all the girls get together. Her and Steve have been communicating very well.
She asks, is it too soon for him to fall in love? He says, well, I think we're getting closer. And she was like, but I'm asking about you specifically. He said, when I say we're, I'm saying we, meaning, including me.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, she was just saying how at this point in her life, she's not afraid to say how she feels when she feels it. And, you know, like she doesn't have time to waste. And she says, I hope he says it sooner rather than later. And we're getting there. We're getting there.
Slowly but surely. And
she was like, I mean, we're there already because we're married. He was like, well, yeah, we made the first step, which is being married. But that doesn't mean we're at the falling in love point. He was like, we're married. We just have to build on it and go from there.
Yeah. He wants to make sure it's right.
Okay, so Noi had the scavenger hunt for Steve, and so Steve has a picnic for her on the beach.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of the picnic they had on the honeymoon. Okay?
Yep.
And, okay, it's 3 weeks. We're celebrating 3 weeks. She was like, yeah, month anniversary. He was like, it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks, not a month anniversary.
We're going to do that later.
We can do that next week, right?
And he said to him, everything's been going well since the wedding. I mean, the wedding went well. You know, they talked about what's your favorite memory. She said the waterfall adventure. He said, and she said since being home and seeing him every day, she didn't know she would feel that way. She's happy to see him every day because she said I'm the type of person that I'm kind of by myself, used to being with myself. So that kind of surprised her.
And mind you, and this is key here for me. When I heard that, seeing him every day, and he's home most of the day, which is good because sometimes you're home with your spouse all the time. Especially newlyweds, it irritates you. And she's not at that point where it irritates her this week for him being home most of the time. I gotta add this week because we don't know when it gets long, you know, later on. But I'm gonna say this week.
Yeah, in her vignette, she said that she feel like Steve sees her on a soul level. What was his favorite part? It was the wedding with the dancing and the reception. At the honeymoon, it was the waterfall too. And the funny part is still when the fish bit his toe. Yeah. You know, it was like that kind of ruined the moment. He's trying to help her float.
Trying to help her float.
And so he said, you know, they had a picnic set up and Noi noticed, okay, so at the first picnic, he couldn't say, and he says, you know, at the first picnic, I couldn't say, I was ready to say, I love you, but I can say that now. I'm ready now. And she was like, you what? You do?
She was giddy.
Yeah.
She was, I ain't say she was a little kid bow giddy, but she was giddy. She was happy. Yeah, she was like, yes.
She was, and they, you know, they shared a kiss or whatever, and she said, again, it meant a lot to her that he would recreate that moment specifically because he knew she was disappointed in that moment. So let me do it again like that, and then.
But see, that shows how thoughtful he is, right? He's very observant. He's very thoughtful. Goes back into his career, him being a engineer and all those type things, because he's meticulous about what it was, and he's listening to her, and so he's giving her what she wants. Not in that sense, just take what I'm giving you, but he's being conscious and being intentional. That's what I'm looking for. Being intentional to make her happy. And as she said on After Party, they celebrated later.
Yeah.
Good type of celebration.
Figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Now, this was a little friction. Yeah. We'll go to Jasmina and Michael.
Oh, she can get.
And so, we see him at the beginning making a bandana for Feeny. And he didn't really say what it was for, but he was like, I'm making a bandana for Feeny. But we find out that Michael had a picnic set up for them for Jasmina and Feeny because he knows how much her dog means to her. So he wants her to know that I'm welcoming of your dog along with you. And so he brings a basket of gifts, and she was like, at first she was like, oh, he brought me some gifts. And then she opens it, and she was like, oh, it's for Feeny. And she wasn't disappointed. She was like, that meant even more to her because he knows how much Feeny means to her.
And I mean, he's doing the right thing. Again, she loves that dog, and he loves that dog. He even lied about going home with the dog. So he's trying to make amends to her by loving the animal. You know, which is, hey, I'm not mad at Michael, man. Do what you have to do to get to your woman's heart. Get to your woman's heart.
Yeah, and so that's when she gets the bandana for Feeny and some other chew toys, and he tries to do a trick with Feeny, and Feeny didn't participate at first, but then Feeny got it.
As he fed him.
It's the way you gotta do is you gotta have the treat and pause.
Oh, yeah.
And so in this space they have a conversation about their communication. You always
see that person that always mess up the moment?
Yeah.
That's her.
Michael was like, so we've had issues with communication. What's the best way for me to talk to you, to have a conversation with you? And she was like, talk at me. Don't talk to me, not at me. You know, just have a conversation. You know, just talk to me, you know. And he was like, but, okay, so just talk to you. I've been just talking to you, but how do you want me to talk to you? She was like, just talk to me without having a tone. And read the signs. It's basic knowledge. He was like, but you're telling me have a basic conversation, but when I have that with you, you don't like the way I'm talking to you. So I'm asking you, how is it that you want me to talk to you? And you just keep giving me back, just talk. And she was like, I mean, you know, just this basic life skills type of thing. Just have a conversation.
He's better than me, dog.
And he was like, but what do you mean? I'm trying to ask. And she was like, just calm down. And he was like, I am calm. I'm just passionate. I'm trying to understand. And we literally saw him. He did not go above I'm gonna give him a 5.
She got more animated than he did.
I'm not gonna give him above a 5. He definitely wasn't at a 10.
That child care
stuff. And she was
stuff,
like, calm. When she said calm down, I was like, well, dang.
That child care stuff, she didn't leave that school. She brought work home because Johnny, be quiet, Michael. Be quiet, Michael. Michael? No, he's asking you a question. He's trying to communicate with you. How do you want to be communicated to? Because he brought up a good point, and he said when I'm talking, when I talk to you, when I'm talking to you like I talk to other people, right? They don't say anything. So
but you are.
But you are.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how am I not speaking to you properly? So I can, when I'm with you, I can fix my communication. So we as this is man talk. So we can no longer have these issues. So we can enjoy more of each other, and it'll be peaceful. Mm-hmm. What she's trying to tell her, and what gives me to believe she doesn't know how she want to be communicated to. And she doesn't like to be challenged, because he challenged. This is a challenge statement here, and when she got challenged, she rose up.
So that's her problem. That's what she's calling a tone. So when you challenge me or ask me a why question, or you have questions after I've given you an answer, that's when I have an issue. One thing that Noy pointed out on After Party, and we talked about this before, we had this conversation. They are strangers. They don't have the luxury of knowing each other before they got married. Mm-hmm. So when you are in a relationship with somebody and gotten to know them, then you get to learn that, oh, he talks like this, but that's just his tone. He doesn't mean it in a mean way. You know what I mean? It's like he's passionate when he talks about it. He uses his hands when he talks, or he moves like this when he talks. It don't mean he's trying to fight me. You know what I mean?
You trying to be funny?
No, I'm not trying to be funny.
You trying to be funny?
You trying to out yourself? I ain't trying to be funny, but I'm saying that because, you know, I had to learn it. And I had to learn that, and I'm still learning it, because my husband can be very passionate when he speaks, and sometimes it can sound like raw, but it's not raw. It's just the way he talks. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then for me, my husband had to learn that I'm you know, I might look hard, but I'm soft, and so he might be like, and I'm like, you know.
No, you don't do that. Don't do
no,
that.
I mean on the inside, I'd be like, you hurt my feelings. He'd be like, what you mean I hurt your feelings? So it's some of that. They don't have the luxury of learning each other and know that. And it's not just us. You know, we talked to a couple in the church, and it wasn't the man, it was the woman. The woman was kind of hard in her talk, but that's just the way she talked, because she used to be in the service, and that's how she talked. And they've been married, 50 years? And he was like, I have to learn, don't take it personal.
Even 50
it's not an attack. That's just the way she talks.
50 years later. So again, but that comes over time, though.
Yeah.
With learning the person. They're only 3 weeks in. And so he's trying to get ahead of the curve here by asking her. And what she needs to say to him, okay, when you say things this way, it irritates. And he has to be like, okay, I understand. Okay, now I'm going to have to think, not say it this way. but say it in a more compassionate, because this is what you're hearing.
But it's
when I say it this way, this is what you're hearing. But this is for the person speaking. That's not what I'm saying.
Right. And it's a twofold thing.
Yes.
She's gonna have to learn to let some of this go because I don't know him that well.
Correct.
And still a little bit like what Pastor Cal said. Understand, we're not enemies. Like, he's not saying this to hurt me. You gotta look at the person's intentions. Find out what their intentions are, right, and then apply that to how they're speaking. Not even
intentions, but intention, environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, the environment shouldn't bring the energy that she brought. The environment is like, okay,
and she should know it shouldn't come in this space. It's not gonna come from him either.
Right. In this space, is not coming from a bad place. In this space, I'm trying to have love and kind, affectionate. We'll try to get closer to you and your dog, because you can see, bro was frustrated. I felt his frustration. I mean, for real, I felt his frustration, man. It's like, dang, what else do I have to do in order to see that I like you and I'm trying to get close to you, and I'm trying to, every moment we have, you're making it into, even though it wasn't a blow up per se, like, can we go a day without not having a disagreement?
Yeah, she's just gonna have to. Obviously, Jasmina is very
sensitive.
I was gonna say sensitive, but pampered, maybe even princessy, because he did not by no means. The way he was talking did not require her to say calm down. He's looking like, I am calm. His face didn't change.
No.
His posture didn't change. You have to, when you communicate with somebody, yes, verbal and nonverbal communication.
Read the room.
You have to look at both. He wasn't assert. His posture was, he was chilling on the blanket on the grass.
Read the room.
He didn't even sit up like. So anyway, that was their little skirmish.
But I'm gonna give you one more. Even on this skirmish, this is what about her. The kids at daycare will probably give her more energy than he gave her.
Oh, absolutely.
And so what do you do when the little I won't call them names, little Boo Boo and little Ray Ray, little whatever, little Beth, because I don't want to use just gives you the business, right?
Emily,
right?
And Hunter.
Hunter gives you the business at school. What happens, right? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
How did she handle? Again, I'm not being funny, but how do you handle those? How do you handle those situations in your profession without going overboard? Or does she? I guess she does go overboard in her profession when she handles. Because you handling your husband different.
And that's what I was gonna say. That's a good point. Maybe to her, it is a lot because she's used to talking to kids.
Maybe.
She's used to talking to kids. And even though kids be getting amped or whatever, is nothing compared to an adult. A passionate adult might not even be equal to your worst kid. Because little kids just be bad.
But she like, Michael, use your inside voice. Inside voice, Michael. I mean, just, I don't know, man. She just went overboard, in my opinion. Blown out of proportion.
Okay, so next thing we see them, they're having dinner together, takeout. A couple of the couples had takeout. It was like, I was planning to cook something.
They look like they all came from the same place.
We end up doing takeout again. But he mentioned that it was the anniversary of his brother's passing. And that he was probably going to go to the cemetery to show his respect. And so they didn't touch on it there. They came back to it later. But she felt his... She took note of it.
But she did say, why didn't you say something to me?
Right.
Why do you...
But she also said later that they haven't been speaking much in the house since they had the picnic. Probably because he don't wants you to tell him, calm down again, sis.
Yeah.
And so...
But see, that's a problem too, though. I mean, I'm not going to... If you're mad at your spouse, right? Don't let that junk linger that long. For days and days and days. Man, figure that stuff out. Get that stuff together. That's just ridiculous.
That's a whole nother. We were reviewing Married at First Sight, but that's a whole nother marriage thing.
Yeah, that's.
You got to don't let the sun go down on your wrath. You have to. A lot of people have that issue, that because
it's probably something small. That was small, but you're not talking because this. and he's in his shell, she's in her shell, and y'all not. No, but see, again, that's a moment because I think she missed out on a moment there, right?
But she did say she felt more connected since he did share.
Right.
And it goes further later on because
but it would have showed him more support. Okay, you're going to your brother's graveside. He passed, or today's the day. Let's do something. Let's commemorate it. Let's work together. Like again, Keith with Iris with the passing of her grandmother. I forgot who else. His grandmother. So somebody else lost a family member, or whatever, and they was there for them and showed compassion. Or even with Ryan with what's her name? Brett losing the dog, right? They was there, compassion, and it shows that compassion in a relationship. And I think because they didn't communicate, it kind of stole the opportunity for them to show compassion on one another. So
yeah, but she made up for it later.
Yeah.
And this is the point where they have their questions. Have you been in love before? Her, yes, 3 times and a possible. How do you know you've been in love? She said, it made me feel good about, there was a friendship, a respect. We built upon that. I was, felt kind of giddy with this person. He said he's been in love, 1 in a possible.
Playing spades.
The possible was in high school. And he felt like he was in love in his last relationship because they had the friendship as a foundation. Yeah. They knew each other well, and they grew from that. What does it take for you to fall in love? He said, if I could be vulnerable with someone and not afraid. The question was, are you falling now? And he said, we haven't had any conversations that would show that, where I could be, vulnerable and you receive it in the right way. Yeah. For her, she's like, what's stopping you? And he said, I plan to be vulnerable day 1. That was my plan to go into it. And she's like, oh, I hear him saying that, but I don't really see that. I don't believe it because he hasn't taken any steps. Well, if he could be vulnerable, maybe he's going to be real passionate about it and he don't want you to tell him, calm down, sis. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the next thing we see with them, she has something for him.
Yeah.
He comes in and she's like, welcome to Jasmina's gym, which is funny because we know Michael's a personal trainer. But Jasmina, as nice and pretty as her figure is, she does not like to work out. Hate those jeans.
Yeah.
Hate those jeans. But she can look like she look and eat how she eat and it don't show. That's fine. I'm not mad.
You still look beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I done worked on it. Y'all look back at some videos, you can see in my face. But anyway, she sets up Jasmina's gym with a J. And he thought it was nice because he knows how much she doesn't like to work out.
Yeah.
But this is his life. And so he appreciated the fact that she had set this up. And she said she had 3 stations set up with actual workout stuff, but each station represented something that they need to work on. And so it was vulnerability, communication, and interruptions.
Yes.
And again, he said it was a very nice gesture. It took time to prep and it put thought into it. And so she leaves the training. It was very funny as to us and him because he was like, she don't know what she's doing. But I'm going with it because...
And I'm glad he didn't...
She's trying to be... We're not really trying to work out.
Right, and I'm glad he didn't say nothing and went along with it. And he learned...
I feel like she wouldn't have to, and that's the sucky part.
I don't think she would have said... I think she would have said something.
Yeah, he went right along.
He went along with it. He didn't say anything, and he went
sport.
along with it. Yeah, very good sport.
Mm-hmm. And so, at the one training point, where... I guess it was at the vulnerability thing. She was like, can I talk to you? Tell me about when your brother passed away. And so he was just sharing that he was, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
His brother worked in food services. And so he always brought them food. He worked late and he always bring them food home and they get excited when the food came. And this particular night, it was a bang on the door. They thought it was the brother, but it was the friend talking about how the brother had gotten shot. Mm-hmm. And Michael ran out there and his aunt had to come get him because he was out there on the pavement and his aunt had to come get him. And so as he's telling the story, he got very obviously and as it should have been emotional and he cried and he was like, that's when grief happened to me. Ever since then, it changed me. And so with everything he had to grieve between his brother, his mom, his dad, his grandmother, that grief has taken a toll on him. And so I appreciate it. She moved closer to him. She was comforting. She put her hand on his leg. I would have loved to see her embrace him. That was an embrace moment.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. I was getting ready to say the same thing. That was a moment where she should embrace him and say, you know what? I got you. I'm here. We can grieve together. You know, anything to help him release and say, you know what? I'm feeling you. We're together. Boom. Again, she may not be that type of emotional type person, but again, she cried on an after party about that scene too. So she's there. I don't know what's holding her back, but that was like you said, that was the moment where she had an opportunity to embrace. And
he even said later that cry felt good. I feel like, and I don't think it's just me, even though I have that way. Mm-hmm. I think if she had embraced him, he would have really released. He would have really let it go, because he did. But he would have really let it go. I think he probably would have. They would have had to turn the camera off, because he would have ugly cried. But
yeah, you gotta
it was a good moment for them. She said in her vignette she appreciated him being open, and she told him, you know, thank you, and I appreciate you for being open and sharing those feelings. And like I said, he said it felt good for him to cry and get it out.
She still has not been open to him. She has not been vulnerable at all. She wants him to do everything, and she has not done, in my opinion, y'all let me know in the comment section, she has not done anything to show her vulnerability to him.
And so, I'm going to need that.
I'm going to need her to be vulnerable.
I'm going to need you to do that.
I need her to trust him and to be vulnerable to him, because she's one-sided right
And
now.
I think that's why she didn't go in with it when he was crying. Because my response, I don't care who you are. I've seen people crying and I don't even know, and I be like, it's okay.
You get in the church rub. The church rub.
It's okay. I'm too bad at work too. I'll be like, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I know.
What you mean at work? You mean when you used to work in the office?
Yeah.
Oh, at work.
I'm like, be shady.
I'm not being shady.
Yes, you are.
That's been a while ago.
Shut up, boy. All right. So next, okay, which foolishness?
Let's go Mark and Lindsay, because I'm gonna save the O and K for last.
Woo. Okay, before we get to O and K too, let's talk about the little group meetings.
Yeah, the little group meetings.
All right, but okay, Lindsay and Mark.
Foolishness.
You know, she's irritated. She starts by saying, "I'm irritated at him. You know, I want him to say he's sorry. I'm just sitting here waiting for the next explosion. You want him to apologize to you for how he acted at the bowling alley, and just ignore the booty that you acted in that bathroom."
The barrage, the lowdowns, the put downs, the talking about the man's job, talking about the man's mama, talking about the man's career. The only thing she did not talk about was his sex. So I mean, he do well in the bedroom area, but she talked about everything about this dude, and she wants the apology, which leads me to believe, as I said, Mark didn't hear everything that happened in that bathroom. Now, Chris might have told him, or somebody else, production, whatever. He didn't hear everything, because there's no way in the world that he could have heard everything and they be this cordial the day after.
Ain't no way.
No. Unless he just that, I don't want to say soft.
Ain't no way.
Mild-mannered.
But they sitting there eating, and I wrote this down. They angry eating and having an angry conversation.
Oh yeah, they angry eating.
Like, you know, she eats. She's like, yes, no.
Oh, it's real short. It's real short. It's real short. And you know how it is when you mad. You get
She's
short
looking
answers.
at him, grind the pepper on the food. Like, I wish you stop grinding that food. It was almost like Alyssa and Chris. Stop touching your fork. The way you touch your fork is irritating.
The way you chewing is just making me mad. Stop chewing.
It was funny. It's funny watching,
but it's not
funny. I was like, gosh, this is, this is rough.
Her to say he irritated her, to me, was like a throwback, because she, as if she was playing the victim role, like she didn't do anything in this. Like, she had no say-so. She didn't do anything in this. She wasn't drunk, or she should have said anything to Katina, and he's doing what his friend suggested. She irritated me by saying that he irritated her. So, it is.
In his vignette, he was like, we're just not meshing well. We're not clicking well. It's causing tension. And, they had a conversation. You know, it was like, you know, do you feel like this thing, is it a waste of time or whatever? And she was like, no. No. He asked her, was she out of line?
Right.
And she said no. Because he asked, were you out of line at the bowling thing? Because he obviously did not hear the foolishness in the bathroom. Because if she had said no and he had heard the foolishness, I'd have... Boop. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying?
We don't do violence around here.
She was like, no, you're a Debbie Downer, and I need affirmation, I need kindness, because I'm being very supportive, and you're not letting me know that you appreciate me being supportive, and I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing that for you, and you just not saying thank you. And all the while knowing she ran him down
in the bathroom. As a husband, right, we do for each other, right? I mean, as a husband, as a married couple, you do for each other. Do your spouse want to hear thank you? At times, yes. Do they want to hear, you know what, you did a wonderful job? But again, they're still getting to know each other. He may not, he's not there yet, and he's still mad at the fact from other things that transpired. Don't make it right, but he's still there. And but you're on all this and stop. And this is you're throwing everything in his face. Again. I'm doing all this for you. And no one asked you to. He said he could do it by himself. But you was like, no, I'm your spouse. Let me help. So if you're volunteer to help because you're the spouse, don't throw it in his face later. That's my biggest issue with her. She's always throwing all the stuff. Your life is in chaos. So you're doing it for the cameras. You're trying to keep it. Of course he's trying to put a smile on for the cameras. He don't want everybody to see that he's hurting inside. He has no place to live. His mama's sick. His grandma's sick. And all
and I don't think he's doing it just for the cameras. I think he does that anyway.
He does that anyway. He does it anyway.
Because you cannot live a life broken and breaking down everywhere. You just can't do it.
Plus, his friend said that he's always been the strong support for everybody.
Exactly.
So, which means even a strong person in the group has down days.
And you just won't know it.
And you just won't know it.
You just won't know it.
So.
She was like, I don't know who you are. You know, she talked about how she flipped the switch off on him. I'm done absorbing his chaos and your toxic sludge. You're so negative. And,
I'm gonna put me first.
I'm done putting myself second to, his mess and everything. And she was like, I feel like, when we were at the bowling alley, I was like, this is fun. Oh, this is Mark on camera. He was like, what? Mark on camera? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she's like, why am I trying so hard for somebody who doesn't care about me? And you don't know me. What do you even like about me? I feel unappreciated and uncared for. And he was like, look, between our communication, our personalities, we need to get on the same page. And she was like, right now, I'm done doing the, 100%. I'm down to 1%. And he was like, well, that's better than nothing. We can start from there.
We can start from there.
She was just a mess. I was like, shut up.
She was all over the place.
Shut up. I was like, shut up. Again, throwing stones, hiding your hand, acting like you didn't run the man down. Come on, stop.
She tried to play the victim. Plain and simple. She tried to play the victim. And she wanted the sympathy from him. So
we see them again. They talk about things have gotten better with them after a couple of rough days. And, he expressed that what he felt was going on with her. He talked to her about that as they sit down and go through the questions that the experts gave. And question, have you been in love? Her, yes. It's been different versions of love. I had my high school sweetheart, then I had young love, and then it transformed into adulthood.
Right.
I thought I would marry she said, I thought I would marry the guy I moved to New York for. He was caring and really supportive, but it didn't work out. For him, have you been in love before? Yes. His thing, her issue with him, and I just feel like he didn't articulate this very well.
He did not.
He was like stumbling and bumbling over his words.
But he's nervous to talk around her. Look, we said it. He is nervous to speak to her.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think one of the things that really irritated him, or really hurt, was she was like, "Oh no, I don't do I don't say retreads. I don't go back to people that."
And see, that's what I say. His thing was, it almost, I hate to say it like this, it almost sounds like a drug addict.
Yeah.
Where you're chasing that first high. So he was like, you know, I look at what I had in my past relationship, you know, basically the first one was the best for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's looking for that in every other relationship. And what the things that he might have thought was wrong in the first relationship, when he goes to the second one or the third one or whatever, the subsequent relationships, he's like, well, maybe this person wasn't that bad. They was actually better than this person.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, why are you trying to go back to that? Like, no, I'm not replaying second again. I'm not doing that.
But he's trying to do that because he want to see if that person, they grew, or they have growth, or they won't make that mistake again. Again, in his mind, he's trying to be pleasing to everyone in his life.
And he's trying to chase that original
And he's trying to chase the original high.
Yeah. And she was like, to me, that's just his version of settling. And he expressed that it takes him a long time to fall in love. The second question is, again, what does it take for her to fall in love? She said it takes time to build a foundation, patience, and everything. And he said, you know, well, that's what he said. She said for her, that person has to be pleasant, has to be consistent, show they care, always show up. Otherwise, she quickly checks out.
She always says.
And she basically like.
She been using that all the time.
Giving him hints.
I always check out. I pull way back. You want to pull back? I pull way back. I mean, she's always saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. But yet she has not really pulled way back. I mean, maybe because of the process, maybe because of production, who's keeping her close-knit. But, just get past it.
The question is, are you beginning to fall in love? He said, for him, it's possible. Mm-hmm. It takes more time to develop. We might get there. For her, she said, if somebody asked me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said yes. Mm-hmm. But in the last few days, it's been tough. I wouldn't say that. I'm definitely not there now. The next thing we see with them, we saw all the couples do a little something special. So he knows that Lindsay likes sushi, so he takes her to a fancy sushi restaurant. And Mark is not adventurous when it comes to food. Now, and I'm not saying that based on the fact that he won't eat sushi. Because I'm not a raw fish sushi person. I like the shrimp in mine. I like the crab meat in mine. Yeah. I don't do
the seaweed in the rolls.
I do this. Yeah, I don't do the tuna. I don't do the tuna and the salmon and the raw. I don't do that. So I'm not saying that, but it's a lot of things. The taco, a lot of things that he don't eat. If it ain't a Parmesan goldfish
or fried,
he ain't eating it. So she said it meant a lot to her that he would go to this place because she knows he doesn't like his palate is not diversified.
No, it's not. And when he went to this place and what he said, even the food was good. He tried everything. He even tried sake. You didn't see that on the show.
He tried the chopsticks.
Chopstick didn't work. He forked. And even then, I was kind of mad because she insulted. Like, I'm out here with a child. Shut up.
Everybody can't use chopsticks.
Everybody can't use chopsticks.
And I'm not mad at him for
But she's insulting. And to me, her being sarcastic is kind of insulting. And so, but what he said to her, which was key, I apologize. I'm sorry. Let's kind of work this thing out together. I was wrong. And let's move on.
I was wrong in the fact that I haven't expressed to you that I'm appreciative. And I feel like he has expressed his appreciation. He just hasn't said it. And what she's looking for is for you to say it.
She's looking for him to say it and be blunt like her, to be very transparent or be very open with how he cares for her. Mm-hmm. So
he said, I appreciate that I can tell you came into this with good intentions, and what you got from me, no matter what, you have, still come back and try to be caring. I know that's hard to do. And I promise, not to cause you any more pain. I see everything you do. I noticed that, she's doing it to try to be good and not to hurt. And again, you've been doing it with no appreciation. I want you to know I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So that was them. Later on, they go to, she says, I'm taking you to a fun park. What are we doing? Bungee jumping. He was like, nope. But it wasn't bungee jumping. It was batting cages, which meant something to him. So the way he did something for her with the sushi, she did something for him with the batting cage because she knows that he used to play baseball. And he said he played baseball from like Pee-wee all the way up through high school. Yeah,
we saw that last week with him and his brother were throwing the ball around.
His friend.
His friend was throwing the ball around.
Yeah. And so both of them, in his vignette, he said it, and then she said it, that we're just going to have to take it one day at a time. We can't look at it 8 weeks. We're going to have to go from day to day, that's what's going on.
That's what everybody has to do. I mean, I think she realized that now. It's one day at a time. That is not the whole... And you're building up on what you did yesterday. And it's a process. So, all right, let's go here.
Whew.
This nut. Bro, maybe
you want to do this first?
Yeah, let's do
real
that.
quick. We're going to touch this real quick. The guys and the girls had an outing.
Yeah.
The guys went to the archery games, which looked like a lot of fun. That looked like so much fun. They were just shooting each other with these arrows. And Michael got hit good one good time. I think he said Steve or Mark. One of them hit him. No, it was Mark, because he said Mark has turned out to be the best shooter.
Yeah.
Mark was like, it's a breath of fresh air to be able to sit down with the guys and talk.
They genuinely like each other. You can tell they genuinely get along with each other.
Mm-hmm. So they talked about, how's marriage been going, how's the process. Mark said, it's harder and more work than I thought. We got to figure out emotions and feelings. Lajwan said it's been tough, tough to be there with somebody you're babying. We're going to go back to him later.
Yeah.
Michael says, to respond to, what's the deeper thing? Is it effort? But I'm going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the guys get to talk and they shed light into what's going on in their marriage. Michael says for them, it's communication has been an issue. They've had a problem getting to the deeper conversations, getting more open and being more vulnerable.
Because she don't want to be open and vulnerable. Again, she doesn't want to be that way.
She need to let them walls down.
She need to let the walls down.
Steve said they had a big issue, and he talked to them about Noodlegate and how she shut down hard. But they talked it out. No yelling, but got to the nitty gritty, and they feel like they're in a better place. And Michael says, it's good to know that we're all having struggles.
Yeah.
It's not just one of us. And, we can relate to each other, and, we're all kind of,
I think that was key for him to say that, because I think he needed to see that it wasn't just him and Jasmina, that it was everybody else that were having some type of issue. Because, again, even though we're married at this thing together on the show, we're not in everybody's house, and I guarantee you their apartments are not close to each other. They may not see everybody every day. And so for him to hear that and see that was good.
Well, we see the ladies go to a spa type of nail lounge thing. They got a nice little setup with the fruit, and they got some food there.
Katina even agreed with Lindsay.
Yeah, she was like, I talked to Noy. Well, Jasmina was like, you talk to other ladies, and she said Noy will DM me, but I really don't have too much for Lindsay. But I'm coming into this. I'm gonna be my positive self. Yeah. I'm not gonna let anybody take me out. I intended to be kind, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna let anybody take me out of that. Question, how has it been adapted to the real world? Noy says, take some getting used to, because you marry every part of this person, everything that's attached to them, their personality, their history, their family, you're attached to all of that. Lindsay said, they have been in sync on so much stuff before.
Yeah. She was in sync for 3 days. Let's be honest, they were in sync until they got back to Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, not Houston, Boston. I'm thinking about the previous season. It was in sync until they got back to Boston.
Yeah, but they're in sync to the point that when they're not in sync, it's like, what happened? Yeah. What's going on? She asked the question, are we growing in intimacy? Katina says kind of been up and down for the last few days. Somebody calling her out on the thoughts in her head. Again, we'll get back to Lajwan and Katina later. Jasmina says, she hopes going forward that her and Michael can have open, honest, and vulnerable conversations. And, she can get to they can get to the place she wants to be, where she knows they can be. And, she just wants to get that intimacy. But like you said, she's going to have to be more vulnerable, because she's doing it.
She's doing it. She's the one that's stopping it right now.
Noy tells them about the conversation that her and Steve had when they were talking about Noodlegate and how she acted after the fact, and she could tell that it was really affecting him, because his voice was cracking, he got kind of teary. And again, with them, I loved the way he communicated with her about it. He didn't yell, he didn't fuss, but he was direct. and addressed the issue and told her what the behavior should be, but not in a parental kind of way. But no, that didn't look right, you know. And so
we're married, and this is how we should be able to respond with one another. This is how we should take care for each other. This is how we should act. So yeah, the way he did it was, I mean, perfect. Yeah,
she said it was an eye-opening moment for her, and you know, she was like, I don't ever want to make him feel that way again. So I can do that. Lindsay again says, you know, they grew in intimacy. When communication is better, you know, they'll get back there again. But again, the lady said too, hearing from all the women, you realize that I'm not the only person going through something.
I'm not alone.
So that's that for that. So let's go to Katina and Lajwan, a mess.
No, he's a mess. She's part of a mess. She's in a mess, but he's a mess. Dog.
They start by going food shopping. She was like, you know, I'm used to going by myself, which Lajwan mentioned before, that she went to the grocery store. She was gone, which was in the last episode. She was gone for a couple of hours.
Bust some water and
only came back with a couple of things. So they had an argument the night before. You know, what's your definition of a wife is what, you know, we're talking about. And he was like, she said, to me, a definition of a wife, she should be your support system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And be there for you. And she was like, I realize I'm not cooking all that much. And he, you know, he points it out. You ain't cooking that much. You're not stepping up to your wife duties. He talked about how...
Let's stop there. Because when he said that, this is my mind. Like, okay, what is wife duties, first of all? And
he back in the 50s again.
And if she's not doing her wife duties, are you doing your husband duties? What is your husband duties? She should have came... And I know she don't like to argue on camera. You can tell it. She doesn't like... But she could have came... She should have came and like, okay, if I'm not doing my wife duties, you're not doing your husband duties. Again, what are wife duties? Because if she works a 9 to 5 or she works these hours... she may not have time to do what you expect her to do. And then you as a husband being to help me. Because when he gets to the whole sweeping up after the party situation, I was irritated by that too. Maybe she has, and he doesn't go into a whole dynamic. Maybe the party was late. Maybe she got to get up early in the morning. What's wrong with you with sweeping the floor, bruh? And she said, you know what? Oh, she could have communicated, you know what? Communicated. I would love to help, but let's do it tomorrow. It's okay if we go to bed tonight.
But his thing was, he don't go to bed with the house dirty. And so he couldn't take it. And so he told her, I did your half of the floor. That's why I was like, the floor belongs to everybody.
We ain't got no half.
We all walk on the floor.
There's no halves in the house, right? Because like I said many times in videos, the electric guy does not cut off half the electricity when you don't pay the bill. There's no half in a house. Bruh, if you don't like going to the house if you don't like going home or don't not like going to sleep when the house is dirty and your wife is tired, as a husband, right? Clean up the house. Don't say it's your job or you should have stayed up and helped me. She's tired. There's many times where I fell asleep on the couch or I admit, right? And she's finished cleaning up some things. Or there's been many times where she hasn't taken care of some things and I've come in and taken care of it. And there's no oh, you didn't do, by the way. Matter of fact, I don't even mention, oh, by the way, you didn't do X, Y, Z. You just do it. You just do. In marriage, there's some things you just do. It's not competition. It is not, you're not keeping score. I cleaned the living room 3 times this month. You did it once. Bad on you.
And the truth of the matter is, one of you may be better at cleaning than the other.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Some people may not like to fold clothes, but like to wash them. Right? Some people may like to wash, not to fold. Some people like to do dishes in the dishwasher. Some people like to wash them by hand.
For all we know, Katina might have been in a place where she didn't have to clean up at home.
Correct.
She never had to do it. You know what I'm saying? When she get out on her own as one person, you ain't got that much to clean up. So she didn't get in the habit of it then. It doesn't mean she's not a good wife.
Doesn't mean she's
like he's pinning all of this. Let me say this. What he said was, she was halfway cleaning. She must have been tired. He said, so I sent you to bed and I cleaned the floor for you. He says he wants somebody that's whole.
His language.
You're my wife. I'm not your boyfriend. We got a ring. You know, I expect you to do wife stuff. And she said, you know, I wasn't expecting, no, he said she wasn't doing that. Wasn't expecting she wouldn't meet somebody's standards. She said, I never came into this thinking that I wouldn't meet somebody's standards. But I don't think nobody meet his standards at this point, unless they're a housewife.
You gotta have your own standards. Again, coming into marriage, you have your own standard, and they have to have that communication. Like, this is what I can do, what I can't do. This is my level of expertise. I can't remember what season was the woman couldn't cook, right? The dude ended up cooking all the time. Again, this is your level. This is my level at. Not that I can't do, I will do, because she's always said, I'm trying, I'm getting there. So she's putting forth the effort to help him out. Mm-hmm. She's trying, and he wants it to be perfect from day one. And the problem I have is this: what if she came back to you and said, "Dang, you ain't putting it down in the bedroom because we ain't had sex yet," right? She could have easily. I mean, not telling her to go blow for blow, but there's things that she could have brought up that he's not doing.
I expected my husband to come into a marriage being able to cuddle.
Right. Or I expected my husband to come in and again, making X amount of dollars. I don't know who makes the most. Whatever case may be, she's not doing that to him. But every time he comes in, he's putting her down in a sense. And I said it on Twitter, and I put it on there. He's breaking her. She's getting. If you look at her from episode to episode, she's looked like she's totally beat down. He is breaking her slowly but surely. And guess what? She's allowing him to, because she's conforming. And maybe we don't see it. She don't say nothing on camera when she steps up and goes against him.
They had their questions to answer. What is it going to take you to fall in love? He said him, devotion, commitment, loyalty. Her is somebody supporting her that's loyal, understanding, patient, and be a best friend. She says she sees potential falling in love. But they still need to work on their emotional connection. She's more guarded than when she, when she meant to be. She's more guarded. He said because she doesn't cry, she says, I do that in private. Mm-hmm. And she explained how she was with somebody who was verbally abusive. She basically was a crybaby. And when he did, he called her weak. He made fun of her. And so she said, I learned to keep the cry to myself. Do it in private, not let it out, because I got talked about, put down for being me. And so
now she, again, he missed a moment, because he could have had, this is the moment where he could have been like, you know what, I'm sorry for talking to you that way. I didn't know. I apologize. I'll watch my tone. I'll watch my voice. He didn't do any of that.
He did it in this way. He kind of did it reprimanding. He was like, everybody cries. You shouldn't keep it to yourself. You should just let it out.
But that's not what she needed. In that tone, in that pitch, in the voice that he said.
Yeah, it wasn't confident.
It didn't go with the moment, right? Mm-hmm. It didn't go with the moment after you have already berated her with your tone, with your voice, and she's telling you, I've been, and that was her cry for help. Like, look, I've been in this situation. I've been here through this, and you're kind of repeating the same situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt and see you break me. I'll do it in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I'll do it on my job or in the car, because again, I'm sure she will cry in this situation. Yeah. And so again, he hasn't done anything to make her feel comfortable or safe based off all the things that he wants from her.
Yeah, he even said in his vignette, hearing her say that, it lets me know that my wife is strong, but also it's that she's sheltered because she's trained herself not to cry.
Just because you are emotional like that, and some people do not cry, I've learned this, and I'm that person. I very rarely cry. She tell you, she call me stoic, right? Not that I don't have emotions, don't have feelings, but what you do is, what you have done, you have learned how to internalize that situation and how to continue to move on, work through some things. Does not make it right. Doesn't mean they don't have emotions. Doesn't mean they don't have feelings. The person has emotions. The person has feelings. They just don't do it outwardly. And you can see on her face that she was totally broken. The bags around her eyes, trying to do everything to make him happy. And right now, she's so much trying to make him happy that she's not happy.
Yeah. The other question, are you beginning to fall in love? She asked him, and he was like, you go first. And she said, I see the potential that it could be. He was like, I definitely like you. Mm-hmm. Fall in love is such a strong word, and I'm not going to say that. It's not on the table for me. And I don't fall in love easily, and
she was
I don't
cooking,
know.
He's full of crap, because if she was cooking those meals like he wanted to cook, if she was cleaning like he wanted him to clean, if he was meeting her standards like he wanted to meet her standards, he would have said, I love you by now.
He says, I don't know you that well. It would probably help if you expressed yourself. more, and if you did more cooking and cleaning,
See, again,
you know, standards have to be met, and I have to see it. I have to see it to believe it.
I don't want people to just tell me I gotta see it to believe it. Dog, this is your wife, not your co-worker. It ain't your friend. It ain't your this is your wife who you say you love and you try to rub up on and you try to be with, and you're mad. She's attempting. Appreciate what she has done thus far. Appreciate what she has done, and he has not done that. It irritates me. I'm sorry, y'all can hear my voice.
We have to do a whole nother thing because we can't
thing.
spend a whole time because it's a lot to them.
Yeah.
So we'll do something separate.
We'll do something separate for them.
But we see them go to a cooking class with the chef.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like that's kind of shady.
It's shady.
It was kind of shady, but anyway, because he said she loves salmon, and so you know he thought it would help, you know, her learning how to cook it. You know, he wants his wife on the same page as him, to stop waiting for him and just do things yourself. In her vignette, she was like, I don't really like cooking, but I'm happy that he did it for me because, you know, some things I want to eat. I don't necessarily enjoy cooking, but I'll cook and it'll help me to have the skills. And she says, I know that cooking is the way to his heart. And they cook the food. They each cook something. Let me say this though. They each cook something, and she appreciated that they both did it, and then he didn't just sit back. That took a little bit of shade away because he didn't just go, okay, teach her how to cook. That was good. I'm glad he didn't do that. How
was he eating? How was he eating before? Was he getting every meal a home cooked meal before? Why do you expect your wife to cook you meals all the time?
He must have had suckered somebody, or that's how they were. They was cooking. You want me to cook you something? What you want me to cook you? But anyway, so he is really enjoying the food. I mean, he's just the coconut shrimp. Like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. I like this or whatever. And he says that she was like, you act like I haven't been feeding you. He was like, yeah, but not on this level. Duh.
Shame.
We're with the chef. We're with the chef. I wouldn't expect you to fix that every day. So in her in his vignette, he was like, you know, he said she's worked on herself independently, like not doing the clubbing and drinking, but that doesn't mean she's ready for marriage. I was like, wow. And his question is, you know, is she enough? Is she enough woman for me as a wife? And I was like, wow. Again, I'm like, really? I'm glad he said this in vignette. But he commences to give it to her, you know. Ask her, you think you can do this cooking at home? And she was like, yeah, the salmon, yeah, that's something I would do regularly. The other, it's a bit much. And it's right. I wouldn't fix stuff like that regularly.
Yeah.
You know, she said she felt like she'd been putting in effort, and but she sees in areas where he's putting in more than her. She says she sees that. And he says, yeah, you're still learning. Nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to marriage, it's some things I expect to already be there. Like trying to figure out if you have that base. You know, do you have these life skills? You know, are you equipped? Now, I'm going to tell you one thing about it.
Everybody don't have that. Everybody don't come from a family of that, though.
But you know what? But one thing about it. One thing I'm going to say. When you get to the point to get married, and I talked about this the last video, there are some prerequisites, some things you should be able to do when you come into a marriage. And and I'm not going to say it's take care of yourself. You might not take care of yourself the way somebody else does. For me, cleaning my clothes might be taken to the dry cleaner or a cleaning service. Mm-hmm. I might not do it myself. That don't mean I'm not able to. Or even if it's some things you might not be able to do, but you know how to get it taken care of. Correct. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's some prerequisites. You should know about cleaning clothes. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily having to do it, but cleaning your clothes. Yeah. You know your house needs to be clean. You might not necessarily clean it yourself. You might get a maid. And that's fine too.
There's no problem.
But he is basically saying to her, because she doesn't do stuff herself, that she's not equipped. No, that's wrong. Oh, for the housewoman. Basically, you sat back and dictated and had your friends do this, that, and the other. And she was like, then he basically said, you don't work in the office, you work from home. why you couldn't do the stuff yourself? And she was like, I did make arrangements. I knew I couldn't go out and get it. He was like, why you couldn't? You work from home. Because I'm working from home.
I'm working from home. And that's somebody who doesn't understand what a person working from home. If you work from home, you may not have time to do that. And she may be bogged down to the computer. She may not be a multitasker, right? She may not be able to do those type of things. And then she may not want to, this is another thing he has to take in consideration. She may want to be finished her work by the time you get home so you can get her attention, right? So then you complain, oh, when I come home, you still working. Well, because I had to clean this, I had to do this, I had to do that, I had to do this, and you still want me to do this. So he has to be able to, can't have his cake and eat it too. Yeah. What do you want, bro?
Because he even put in terms like this, oh, for me, you know, I've achieved big things before I got into marriage. Here's the answer to the question. He said, I bought a home. He bought the house and kept it like it was when he bought it. Anyway, I bought a home on my own. I paid off student loans, and you're still working on those things, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you're bettering yourself. But again, I'm trying to figure out, what can my wife do independently?
She's been doing a lot
that's on a wife level that I'm satisfied with. And then he says later to her, you know, again, what's your life level? What level wife are you on? Would you be the type of wife that can handle things without me? If something happened to me, like, dog, dude, you asking for a lot to be married at first sight.
For 3 weeks. I'm going to put that, you've been married for 3 weeks. She was doing all these things prior to you anyway. Right? She was living an independent lifestyle. It's not like she looked shabby, right? When she walked, it's not like she was homeless or broke down, busted, or disgusted, right? None of these things when you married her. You are asking a lot. And you making her, again, it's psychological. I mean, I wish we had, on the next video, I'm going to break it down. It's psychological beatdown, right? Because she was doing all these things, he's trying to make her seem like she didn't do anything right before him.
Which is basically what the other person she was with did. That's what she said.
He's making
verbally abusive.
He's being verbally abusive.
You're breaking down my self-esteem, making me feel like I'm not enough. Again, what you need to do, what he should be doing is you have a nice sit down conversation, and let's talk about expectations. Mm-hmm. Let's talk realistic expectations. Let's talk about what was your habit when you lived on your own. Yeah. Instead of just saying that she don't do it. How about you find out what was a day in your life like? Give me a week in your life. What did you do when it came to cleaning? What did you do? And she could say, I don't like to clean. I got somebody else to clean for me. Not that I'm dirty or nasty. I just don't feel like, I didn't have time to clean because I work.
I'll put it in perspective here, and we use married at first sight terminology or people. Mirla from last season, right? Not that she couldn't do. She said, well, I can afford to have someone else do.
Right.
So if you're at that level to afford to have someone else do, guess what you do?
Get somebody else
to do it.
Yeah, it was just...
Certain service industries out there that will cook, clean, and do whatever they need to do for you.
The way he talked to her was just...
bad.
It was disgusting. And again, bruh, this is 2021 when they filmed this, 2022. This ain't the 1950s.
Yo, can't wait till the reunion.
This ain't the 1950s. But I'm feeling like they must have worked it out or some kind of way, because when she called him on after party, he was like, what's up, my love? So I'm hoping she gets to a point where she checks bruh and say, look.
Either she checks him, or I don't know if she got brothers or friends, somebody checks him and be like, bruh, this ain't Pastor Cal, Dr. Pepper, somebody needs to check, bruh. I'm like, look, and to realize that she's beating her down. And this is why I need the experts to intervene. You see this going on, say something, hop in, be involved. Like, nah, dog, this is going down the wrong road. This girl right now is getting verbally, her self-esteem is totally going in the dumps. So, hey, let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Trust me, we're going to talk more on this topic. Believe me, let's look out for different videos that come out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Also, we got a new thing coming out. Join our membership program that we got coming out. If the button's not already up there, it will be up there shortly. Join our membership. We're bringing in new videos. You get to see the video reviews first. We'll even have some special question and answer sessions with us, as well as some other special panels for just members only. So please, If you see the join button, hit the join button and become a member of Jac and Glen. And hit the subscribe button and bell notification as well.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.